On Axon's Facebook Live Q&A. My name's Robbie. Welcome to those first-time listeners, maybe never-time callers. We're here to talk all things about ADF housing entitlements, joining the military, being in the military, getting out of the military, having a partner who's in the military as well, or a military spouse, working with that person, all things about the property market. What do you got? Whatever you guys want. So use the chat box on the right-hand side there. Let us know where you're calling in from. And, the night is yours. We've got no script whatsoever. We've got a couple of talking points just in case, just to give you guys a bit of an insight about what's been going on in the life of Axon. Actually, Caitlin and I loved seeing, I think Daniel, our videographer, did like a 10-minute video of you and Fran talking about a bunch of stuff. And I think maybe the second or third 2 or 3 minute bite has now been released.
Yes, correct.
Tell me, what's it like when you're sitting in front of the camera and just sort of jawing off with your little oppo there, Fran, about all things life in general?
It's just so easy, especially because she is such a good friend of mine now. And, we've been really good friends now for a year.
Nice.
And we've gone through the same thing. We're going through the same processes. And it's just good to, as we said in one of our videos, when you meet other defense families, there's another person in the world that's going through exactly what you're going through. So I can sit there and chat to her and say absolutely anything I want. And she's like, I get you, girl. I got you. Yeah. So we sat in there for like half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And we didn't have Daniel telling us what to say. We just went, veteran spouses, go. And we were like, word vomit.
Well, here's the thing, buddy. He's not a veteran spouse. He wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, that's it.
Isn't it?
Strap in.
Dave, you're very good in front of the camera as well, and I'm still got my training wheels on. Everyone knows that. What's it like, Caitlin? What are you? And I know you were very, very nervous when we first started putting you in front of the camera, but now, as evidence, now you're like super confident. What's it like for you when you can be so vulnerable and tell stories about you and James, and stories about other people, and like just give people a real insight into what it's like to be a veteran spouse, the good, the bad, and everything else?
Well, the good and the bad comes with like advice. A lot of people are probably going through what we're going through or what we have been through. A lot of people want advice or want help, and they're too afraid to start talking about it. Let's just be open and honest and just bring up, the taboo word, which is the discharge, which is, the medical discharge, which is, potentially for some people, it is the mental health. It's the mental health of that serving member. It's the mental health of the family. So let's just bring it up. Let's have a chat about it, and let's not be, use it as a taboo word. We're all here to help each other. We're all here to boost the defense community. So let's do it.
I know a few other taboo words. I didn't know we were going to talk about that one, but I got you. It's fine. It's all good. Let me just check in for a sec, Dave. Sammy Wynn's in the house, Mickey Galliner. So first of all, Sammy, I'm really looking forward to seeing you and your mate, I should say. Almost said CJ then, but I didn't. So you and your mate, you're going to come down to the office in another little while with your +1. I can't wait to see you, all three of you. Mickey Galliner, it was so wonderful to catch up with you recently, mate. Caitlin, we'll talk about the end of build hot wash and coaching sessions. Yes. I've actually got, I want to share my screen in a second, Kieran, in the background there, please, whereby we've got a new way that we now outline not just the services for step 1 through to 10 and the house is finished being built, what happens after that. So, I'm certainly doing those end of build hot washes and the coaching. So hot washes for the build support and coaching for the coaches, funnily enough. Davey Horrell's in the house, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the office in another couple of weeks as well. Kat Gresham's in the office every day. I hope you're all loving. Kat, actually, now just use the chat for us, Kat, please. Geez, I'm fucking kind sometimes, aren't I? Geez, my manners are really good every now and then.
Thank you. Oh my God. Who is this person?
Kat, I would love, if you don't mind, can you give a couple of sentences? Now you've been here for the better part of a month. What's it like as a civilian with no military background? I know you've got some extended friends and family that got that military flavour, but yeah, what's it like working in the business? What's it like working next to that crazy cat? Not you, Dave, the other one. And what's it like sort of getting your feet under the desk? Just if you don't mind, give everyone a bit of an insight there. So take your time and let your fingers do the talking.
Might open up a can of worms there, Robbie.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, mate, we're here. This is unscripted. about 2 minutes ago, I didn't know I was going to ask that question. It's literally just comes out of me whilst I'm on the fucking screen.
Perfect.
Bronwyn Clemens in the house. That is a name I haven't heard before. Dave, help me out here. Is that someone? Is that a long-time caller, first-time typer?
Could be. It's not familiar to me either. Apologize. I'm not the best with names though, so I don't know why you're asking me.
Yeah, that is true. And
Dave doesn't even remember my name on a good day.
As I get older, Simo, I'm catching the Dave Simpson disease, aren't I? I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck, what is that? Fuck. Every now and then I can't remember. So, Bronwyn, I'd love to know where you're dialing in from. I know where Sammy, Nick, Dave, and Kat are all dialing in from. So, yeah, first-time listener and first-time typer. Where are you dialing in from, buddy? Dave Clark's in the house. Clarky, I hope you're doing well, mate. Sammy Wynn said it's been about 12 months since our last check-in. Figure to be good for Jackson to see. That is your +1, what it's all about. Love that. Get his Axons going and hopefully plant seeds in his head for his future. Jesus, Sammy, I love the good use of the term Axons. Powerful and impactful from Kat. Sorry, Kieran, I'm stuffing you up here, aren't I? I'm reading the chat before you're putting it on the screen there. Get rid of that one. Bring up Cats for us, please. Thank you, mate. Cats
in the background.
Powerful, and he's like the Minority Report. There you go, Dave. I was almost going to ask you the name of that movie then. Fucking imagine how it would have went then. Powerful and impactful. I feel like what I can make not just someone else's, but someone else's day, but everyone else's life. I love that, buddy. That's amazing. Bronze down in Sydney. Good stuff. My wife and I were down in Sydney on Thursday night last week. So, we're a coaching and mentoring firm to help everyone out with their transition. Caitlin, as you were just talking about, and all things to do with property asset class to make sure your future self will love the fact you did something about your finances when you're younger than me. So for us to be able to run a successful business, Tamara and I have got business coaches. So they talk to us about brand and the market and all other things business that I won't bore you with. It was really, really good to go down to Sydney. I loved my time in Sydney. Dave, I know you spent many years down there as well.
Yep.
It's good living in Sydney when you live there, but when you're sort of just removed a little bit and you can just go down there and get a little hit every now and then, I think you get the best of both worlds because it's still a pretty fucking crazy place.
It is, yeah, and especially when being in the defence, and you and I were both out at Holsworthy area, Liverpool. It's a mission getting into the city, so it does feel a bit annoying, like 2 hours plus just to get to the beach.
Yeah,
and then it's packed, absolutely packed as well. We're extremely spoiled here on the Gold Coast, but yeah, I do like getting down there every now and then just to see it all. Every now and then.
It is good, crazy. Dave Clark says, good to be back and need to reach out for a chat. We have movement on to get to the next place. Mate, I'm all yours, buddy. Actually, I've just written down your name. I'll send you an email tomorrow. Well, I'll probably do it straight after this because I'll talk about what we're doing over the next couple of days, actually, as a bit of an insight for everybody. We've got a new booking program, Dave, that I'll just send you the link and you can just jump on there and just book a call with me and we can jaw off about whatever you want to talk about. Tonight, what we'd like to also give everyone an insight is like, what happens in the background world of Axon. So what do we got happening for the next couple of days, Caitlin?
We have the end of financial year and professional development.
Yes, so we've got our planning. So, definitely one of the things I've had many people on various podcasts and just people I run into every now and then, they're like, how is it that you've made a business that's, just seems to be running, really, really well? First and foremost, to tell them is like, it's fucking hard, very, very hard to run a somewhat successful business. That's why so many small businesses do fail, which is very, very sad. But one of the things that the military taught me how to do and do very, very well is plan. So reflect and understand lessons learned, trends, observations, bring it into the forward space and go, right, based on what we've just gone through over the last little while, what steps can we now put in place to achieve what the next business goals are? In fact, you need to be able to set those goals in the first place. So yeah, every quarter we down tools and we basically reflect on what we've done for the last quarter and then put steps in place for the next one. But of course, we don't run our business on calendar years. We run it on financial years. So it now being the 19th of July, Angie P's in her house. Thank you for joining our virtual house, Angie P. And I know you're going to become you are a fundamental part as the assistant GM and one of the key leaders of Axon about what's happening with the planning day tomorrow. So it's, now we grab the whole year's worth of reflections, what's happened in the last 12 months, and basically, grab all those trends and then put steps in place to go, right, what part of world domination in Axon's lunchbox are we going to achieve in the next 12 months?
Axon Stadium.
There's a really, really healthy sprinkling of professional development there. So leadership training, personal development training. I won't actually give away the topics. I'm very bad at that. But yeah, there's lots of other stuff that Tammy and I get from our business coaches in Sydney from a CPD perspective, and then bring it back and go, let's pass that on to the team. Dave, you've been with us almost since the start, and certainly you and I have been working together since in the year BA.
Yep.
Before Axon. Mate, you've as one of the capability leaders as well, you're a stats man. You love your pivot tables in Excel and the like. What are your thoughts?
It says a freak in the sheets.
Yeah, that's the Google Sheets, in case anyone's wondering. Yeah. This is not a PG rated show. It's like MA 15 plus at least. But just about Google. In case you're listening to me on your iPad where the kids are having breakfast in the back, and they're like, not breakfast. If you're in bloody Colombo, I might. Mum, what's he talking about? Freaking the sheets. So we're talking about Google Sheets. It's Excel.
Excel
right?
spreadsheets.
Simo, what do you love most about reflecting on the last 12 months and then pondering on that and seeing what's next?
The thing that I love is just being able to see the data and the trends and things that are happening. So for one like minor, or not minor, one element that we track or that I track closely is where our properties are coming from. Whether it's coming from, say, a builder has sourced the property for us, whether we've had to go down a different route and the client has had to source the property directly with a developer or off realestate.com, for example, or if the builder has what's called a put and call on the land, which allows us then a little bit of exclusivity or exclusive access to that property. Just that's something that I've been tracking for the last few years now, and just during COVID, seeing how it was and what we had to do, and now largely on the other side of COVID now, especially over the last 12 months, seeing where our properties have been coming from. And I'm very happy to say that it's swung back away from the clients having to do all the legwork, and it's allowed us to give them a much smoother process where we're doing all the sourcing and the legwork for them. So that's a very interesting trend, and I'll obviously share that with everyone tomorrow in our spreadsheets and charts and everything that we've got there.
Good. So Dave, you're absolutely the freak in the sheets for the property specialist department. Yep. I'm not the freak in the sheets like anywhere at all, right? And Caitlin, I can't comment on whether you're the freak in the sheets, whether you got your Axon shirt on or not. But you've got the wonderful Fran, who's just give us a little thing. She's the data collector in the build support lane. Yep. But just give us a bit of an insight, mate. I know this is a question without warning. Everything I'm saying is without warning. But anyway, one of those things. What's one trend that you've observed over the last 12 months that you're looking forward to sharing with everyone tomorrow?
Just how many properties we've handed over. I feel that the moment I see that number, and we did have a little bit of a snapshot the other day that Fran gave us, and monumental. It's just crazy. Like I think back to it and go, hold on a second, we have not done that many houses.
Right.
We have, and it's really good to see, and I'm so excited for obviously not only Fran and myself, we get to be a part of this journey with all of our clients, but I am so excited for our clients first and foremost. So that is my favorite number, but no, I'm not the freak in the sheets for the build support team. Numbers give me anxiety, so I just don't want to look at them.
You and I share the same thing. I mean, numbers don't give me anxiety. Certainly, I need to manage lots of variable numbers when I've got my CEO hat on. But yeah, when I'm doing the coach thing, I'm like, Luke and Fran, you sort that stuff out for me. And they're like, okay, boss, no worries, I'll go do that. So when we're talking about handed over, so Dave, your capability. So it's almost good that we've got the coach, the property specialist, and the build support, because that's the journey that everyone goes on. I might share my screen in a second, actually. But so I guess, Caitlin, what you're referring to there is that once a client settles on their block of land and they start doing the building approval process, even though we've got Shania as she's almost like the bridge, Dave, between the property specialist and the build support. The bloody Shania allows the client to run along there. So effectively, once that building approval comes in and you guys then handed the plans and say, right, go build the house. You guys then provide that project supervision all the way through the build. So when you say hand it over, what you're referring to, owner occupiers getting the keys. So that's super exciting. There's been a bunch of them this year.
Definitely.
And a heap of investors. Yeah.
Yes. and then handing properties over to property managers for our clients, which is
that's an interesting sort of depiction. So as an investor, like if you're building a house with us right now, I'm like, wonder what happens in a few months' time or whatever that's looks like for when my property gets handed over. Well, really, what happens is that once the money clears in the builder's bank account, they've got like a handover pack with all the warranties and the guarantees and the brochures about how the oven works and the remote controls for the aircon and all that sort of stuff. And they hand it over to the property manager. Yep. So then the property manager can take that and do their open homes and everything. So there's nothing really to be handed over to you as the landlord or investor, but certainly the physical handing over of the pack from the builder to the property manager is something which is super important.
Yep.
Caitlin, I was bouncing from one meeting to the other just like late this afternoon. You're like, "Oh, come here! I've got some good news." I'm like, "I love being part of good news."
I just ran over to you. I'm like, "Come back."
Now, speaking about keys being handed over, which hasn't happened yet, finding tenants, which is really important. So then someone else is going to pay the mortgage. Tell us about no names, no pack drills, doesn't matter where it is. But what happened today?
So I have got a client that was presented an application yesterday and they received the signed lease today, which is amazing and so quick for a tenant to process the application. But handover technically has not happened to the property manager until Friday this week.
Wow.
So this is amazing, especially for our clients. With the rental market the way it is right now, this is really, really good to see. It really shows that the education we provide our clients, that we say, hey, go $10 to $20 under what is currently marketed to entice renters to go for your property. It is the same property as those higher, rented properties, same 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but yours is $10 to $20 under, and they're getting all the same things plus our Axon inclusions.
Mm-hmm.
It's no doubt that people are going to snap up the house straight away.
Yeah, so good. I love it that doing a build for an owner occupier and going there and presenting them the keys, then the Axon little gift bag and everything. It's probably spoiling a little bit of a surprise there, but anyway, is a special moment. Caitlin, you and I have done a few of them. I've done a few with Franny as well. Dave, I know you've had the opportunity of doing that as well. It's a real special moment to build a house for people to then live in. Mm-hmm. But 9.5 times out of 10, it's not their dream home. Mm-mm. They've just bought it, not just bought it, but they've bought it to get their ADF housing entitlements and their first home owners grant, stamp duty concessions, DHOAS loan, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they live in it for a couple of years, and then they let the door hit them on the arse on the way out. They cut that umbilical cord and they just turn it to an investment property. Yeah. So it's almost like it's a short-lived injection of love and emotional capital that gets placed into it, which is all well and good. But how, Dave, you and I know the feeling, and now Caitlin, you know the feeling after you and James built your first investment property with me. Mm-hmm. How fucking good is it when you own a property that's going up in value and someone else is paying for it? Like that, you've got tenants in your house.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And just today, Robbie, when we're doing our finance meeting with Deb there, just to see some of the valuations that are coming through for clients and people that have had their existing houses, some not with Axon, some with Axon, using those to use the equity to leverage into new properties, and just seeing the increases in the values. It blew my mind today. I had Shania sitting beside me, and she was doing some math, and one property had gone up $250,000. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, mate, it had. So yes. So Sammy Wynn, where you're located, we had a client. This is a single-story house that bought it for $448 or something about 3 years ago, and the bank valued it at $730. We're like, what? And then Deb's like, oh, actually, let me just go back and check. We're like, but Deb, I think that's probably $100,000 more than what it needs to be. She's like, no, this lender, this bank, boom, 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 bank valuation, which is pretty conservative, $730. We're like, holy fuck. So, it was really, really, Mickey Galliner, I'll re-go through that with you and Hannah, that equity thing. When I did the end of build coaching session with you a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, I said, do you reckon it's gone up in value? He goes, oh yeah, probably 50 or 60. Sorry, Mick, I'm doing a very bad rendition of you right now. Very quietly spoken, very switched on man. I really enjoy speaking with you. He's like, oh yeah, it's probably gone up a little bit, 50, 60 grand. I'm like, no, mate, watch this. Caitlin, it took 20 minutes for me to say, no, mate, I was like, mate, watch this. I said, Deb's getting bank valuations right now at this figure, and you only pay this. He's like, what? I said, yeah, man, that's what's going on. That's what happens. So, Dave, you're absolutely right. So what Deb's got the better part of 15 or 20 deals right now. When I say deals, client properties that she's seeking finance for at the moment.
Yep.
And every single, and obviously she's not obliged to give us the exact details of what the valuation firm is, et cetera, but like she just gives us a broad indication about what's going on with market trends. It's really good for us as coaches and property specialists to know what the banks are looking at for generic median prices of areas, so then we don't go too low, too high, whatever it's going to be. So it's almost like she's providing us a bit of a laneway to operate.
Gives us our parameters to work within.
Yes, it's very, very insightful. And, you know, we've got right now the properties are up at the sunny coast, which I don't mind talking about because most clients can't operate up there. Like they're in mid to high sevens. Northern Growth Corridor, Western Growth Corridor, Brisbane. Let's just leave it at that. And there's a bunch of different suburbs in those regions. Some are good, some are really shit. So make sure you choose wisely if you're doing that by yourself. And I made a point of commenting about it today in the meeting because having so many different properties, different client circumstances, different loan to value ratios, different price properties, of course, different types of properties with some really awesome terrace product coming our way now. Dave, I'll get you to explain that soon if you don't mind. And I just went, holy fuck, to see such strong belief in the banks being conservative in this, you know, tight market per se, to have such belief in the right properties in the right areas with the right builder, with the right inclusions at the right price. They're just supporting every single one of them. It was just so awesome to know that everyone now who's gone through the whole property selection contract phase is now the most important bit, you know, Dave, especially, you know, is getting your finance approved. All of them are going to get their finance approved because now the valuation, which is the thing we've got no control over, the Russian roulette, is really, really strong. Like it's just such a good feeling to know that our business model fucking works. Hello, Rach. Talk about a fucking superstar. Talk about someone we met, Dave, you and I, 3.5, 4 years ago who hasn't got starters with us yet. Something just fell into place and away we go. I'm so happy for you, Rach. I'm so happy. And Dave, well on you for nurturing.
Long process, Rach. It was a very long process, but all the parts fell into place, and it's well worth the wait. I'm looking forward to speaking with you next week and showing you the property that I've sourced for you.
So good, Dave. So good. I remember you and I when we spoke to Rach 2 weeks ago. She's like, it's just the one thing that's been keeping me going. Is like one day I'm gonna start with Axon, and it's something's happened and now it's occurring, which is just so. Yeah. Dave, would you mind just sort of passing on a bit of a trend in your area about price ranges of properties that are it's almost come back to the good now?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle getting some of the lower priced properties over the last 18 months or so, or as of about probably 5 months ago, previous 18 months, just based on what was available and what was being built. And like we were on pause for quite a while waiting for some really high quality terrace homes in that Brisbane West area. And we finally started to get access to those properties, and they've been phenomenal. We were talking about valuations just before. Some lenders don't like them as much. Some valuers don't like them. So it is a little bit of up and down, and Deb has got her work cut out for her there. She has to put in some hard yards to make sure the valuers are seeing those properties as they truly are, as separate standalone house and land. But some of them are, and they are valuing at the appropriate values. And I'm talking like in today's dollars, about 517 up to 550, 560, and then like the two-story terraces can get upwards of $580 and $600,000. So the trend that we're seeing there, and our access to these properties through multiple builders, not just with one builder mind, is that anybody, even like people in this environment with the high interest rates, they think that they are out of the game unless they've got the ability to go and lend $500,000 or $600,000 and buy a $600,000, $650,000, $700,000 property. Access through our builders, through multiple builders now for these high quality terrace homes, means that we can actually get people in at the 520 and thereabout price point, which has been phenomenal for a lot of people that have been on our list waiting for properties at those prices for a long time. Some people, like Rach there, have been there for a couple of years waiting for these properties.
Yeah, so good, mate. It's so good that, you know, I mean, if we go back 2.5 years, those same properties were 380, 400. Now they're being sold for, you know, $150,000, $130,000 more. So I guess it's one of the points. So, Caitlin, I'll come to you in a second. Angie's wonderful comment there. Brooke Turby's jumped in as well. Hello, Brooke.
Hey, Brooke. See you, mate.
Angie has said, Kieran, if you can just bring up Angie's comment, please. While reflecting on the last financial year, it's been amazing to see how much our processes have been revised. Yes. Grateful for our clients' feedback on our end-of-bill hot washes. We are always looking for ways to improve. So, so this is one of Fran's clients, by the way, but Paul, who's over in Sri Lanka, actually, he's been there for a couple of years. He's coming back soon over there working with, a few other government agencies. He actually asked me, Dave, he's like, because his property he bought for $535 is now about $700, and he's just finished the build. So he's fucking stoked, as you can imagine, right? He goes, actually, Artie, he goes, just before you go, he goes, this has actually been playing on my mind for quite a while. He goes, when I was having the conversation with Dave, I had options to build a bigger house and/or get a bigger property. Say chuck another $50,000, $60,000 on it. He goes, do you think I've made a mistake by getting a 300 square meter block with a 180 square meter house? I said, well, look, here's the thing, mate. The rising tide lifts all boats. You could have went and spent another $60,000 or $70,000 and got a $600,000 property, not a $530,000 property. But I said, when the market goes up, it doesn't choose individual properties and makes them go up at a different level. They all go up together. So the most important part of anyone's journey that's doing this, Bron down in Sydney, just please listen to me carefully. If you're looking to buy a property, the most important decision you will make is not the fucking color of the tiles in the second bathroom. I'm being a bit cheeky, right? It's the location, because it's the location that goes up in value, not the individual house. So once you choose your location, I guess you operate underneath that umbrella. You just work within your budget. And if that means you're buying a $517,000 terrace home, like Dave speaks about, or you buy a fucking $780,000 banger, whatever you can afford, whatever sort of suits your budget, your risk profile, you are not betting on the house. You're betting on the location. Everyone needs to raise their thinking up one more level, because that's what's going to make you the money, not how big the block size was, especially if you're buying for investment purposes. Working within your budget so you don't spend all the rounds in your magazine or shoot all your bullets for you civvies, however you want to put it there. You want to be able to make sure there's some room left in your borrowing power to not go too big too early. Just go middle of the market. Then you've got plenty of cash or borrowing power left over to go buy another one somewhere else. Thank you for the feedback.
Very important when you're taking into consideration what's coming next. It's never just that one property.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of an addiction for property investors. Once you've got one, you just want to know when that next one's coming. So
yeah,
very, very good advice there.
Interestingly, and I promise, Caitlin, I am coming to you in a second. The original plan that was done by others that are not in Axon anymore was for this gentleman to roll into another property straight away. But actually, once I dissected the details about what's going on with his life, I took that off the table. I said, no, mate, we're going to chill for a bit. I said, you're going to return to Australia. You're going to come back into a job. You're going to look at doing some funky things with your career and all that sort of stuff. This guy's been in 30 years, right? So, he's not a spring chicken. So I said, look, let's focus on some stability in your life first. But here's the thing. He goes, oh, I'll turn 50 soon. I said, that was me 6 months ago, mate. I'm not that happy about it, but like, welcome to the club sort of thing, right? But I said to him, we've got two ways of looking at this. And those that are in your later years, listen carefully to me as well. When you're 50, the pessimistic side of you could say, oh, I've only got 10 years to go until I'm 60, like that magical 60 mark where everyone's supposed to retire, right? I'm the opposite way. I'm like, fuck, I've still got 10 years to go. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of wealth. There's a lot of things that can go right and or wrong in that 10-year period. So, there's still plenty of room for, I just said to him, I said, Paul, your wealth creation opportunities are not over. let's just take a breather for now and consolidate things. And when a few other sort of bits and pieces fall together, he's got heaps of equity, he's got heaps of cash. It's not an issue. But I'm like, I don't think this is the right time right now for you to buy another property. It's one of the things I've loved about me and the rest of the team that wear an Axon shirt right now. We're not about bloody putting properties down people's throats. It's got to be right for them. And to say no and take it off the table, he's like, you should. When I did that, he's like, oh, that feels so much better. I'm like, fuck, you didn't ask me to do it. I'm telling you, you ain't buying another property. And he's like, just chill out for a bit. So, fun times on those. So here's the thing. I do the coaching calls, Caitlin, after you get the hot wash. Yeah. And for those that haven't heard of a hot wash before, it's called a hot wash because things are still pretty raw. Like the emotions are still like everything's still warm because it's only just finished. Mm-hmm. How long after the property's handed over and everything, like, do you try and get in front of the client, Caitlin?
We try to send, we do let them simmer for a moment and just realize what's happened. They've got tenants, they've handed over their property. So let them just have a moment to breathe because they are like hearing from myself and Fred a lot in that period. We try and send a message out, around 2 to 3 weeks after, and we just say, hey, let's sit down, like, let's go through everything. Life gets in the way and we don't always get to have a chat straight away. But once we do dissect the entire build support process, well as the property specialist lane and the coaching. Not only that, within Axon, we also dissect all of our like external parties that are involved, which is awesome because the only way to grow is to, get the feedback, good and bad, and just figure out where to go from next and, take it all on board and improve processes. Yeah,
I love it. There was a client that gave a bit of feedback on his end of build hot wash. Maybe it was even Wednesday night last week. Mm-hmm. On Thursday, actually it was, because on Thursday when I was down in Sydney, I saw an email that came through from our CRM. I'm like, that's not the right process. What had happened, and I love empowering people and giving people autonomy to be able to do this. His feedback was so powerful. We made a tiny little tweak. Therefore, I got an email, bang, it's fixed and implemented straight away. I loved it. Like, it was so good that you guys were able to take that and it was like his feedback shall never happen again. It's a 1%er, it's the fucking 0.5%er. But when you're doing continuous improvement, we're not trying to do these ones. We're just making little tiny, improvements along the way. So, well done, Caitlin, on being, hosting those end of build hot washes. I know a lot of the builds that are coming to completion now, because you've been doing the job, for 13 or 14 months?
Something like that, yep.
Yeah, right. But some of those builds started before you started.
Correct.
Therefore, they were handed over to you. So you've always sort of like when other people have chosen to not endure the pressures that go with being a project supervisor of a construction event, right? Mm-hmm. It's not easy, your role. I know that there is lots of difficult conversations with builders and property managers and building inspectors. Not so much the clients. The clients are always kept you're fighting the fight. Violence is not the answer, team, but you get my picture, right? You're fighting the fight on the client's behalf a lot, and you're really standing up for them. So it doesn't come easy. And sometimes when you're taking over a project a third of the way through, and then you're the new person. Mm-hmm. But Jesus, mate, and I've said this so many times publicly, and I'll say it to you now. If I was building a house, I would want you to be my build support member. Franny, I'm sorry, but I just vibe with Caitlin, and we've got a good personality. So you do a great job there, mate, and I know you love it. I might just use this real quick opportunity, Kieran. Where's my?
Hayden, we see your question there, and you are in the right spot, mate. We'll get to it after Robbie does this next part.
Yeah. Thank you. Fuck, why can't I see it? Window, there it is. Bang, share. Give us a sec, team. Yes, thanks, Dave. You're going to answer that question for Hayden. So, team, this is just a quick little insight now. Kieran, can you try and move my... Oh, no, that's fine. It's fine. The front page of your property wealth action plan didn't have the bits down the bottom. So even Sammy and her mate right now that are listening to this that are building their second property, you don't know the bits that I'm about to show you. So everything above where it says after the build is spot on, right? So that everything there is no change. Coaching, property specialist, build support. As Kieran's already said in the chat there, we've got the whole sort of gamut here with you. But then it comes to after the build, and this slide does build along the way. It looks a little bit busy on face value. First and foremost, you've got unlimited ad hoc coaching sessions to sync, refresh, and update your plan. So effectively, you've got, you can use this like an all-you-can-eat buffet nicely, including dessert, ladies and gents, if you so desire. But it's like really important that at any time your circumstances change, don't feel as if you can't jump back in and speak to your coach or your property specialist straight away. We do a 6-month check-in to make sure it's like, all right, cool. How's things sort of tracking? What's it like having this debt? Are the tenants paying their bills on time? Et cetera, et cetera. And then effectively every 12 months, there's an opportunity for us to be able to jump online and go, right, let's refresh your plan. Let's check the tenancy. How's your relationship with the property manager? Have you got the right amount of insurances in place? Do you want to do a valuation of your portfolio to see what position you're in? So I guess it's we're almost like we're giving ourselves, we're giving ourselves to you so much more. It's not just when the property's handed over, even though we've spoken a fair bit tonight about it being a really major event. What happens for the next 4, 5, 6, 10 years? So it's something that Angie, as our relationship manager, is now really gripped up. And Angie, I know you're loving having so many, genuine and amazing conversations with clients that I met 3 or 4 years ago. You've now been with us for 18 months or so, a little bit more than that. And you can just jump on the phone like, hey, it's Angie from Axon here. How's things going? And there's always stuff going on in people's lives. I've got 7 or 8 clients that I'm literally speaking to in the next couple of weeks that I spoke to 3 or 4 years ago that want to have a chat about stuff. I don't know what it's about. I don't care what it's about. It's just more about learning more about their circumstances to see how it is that we can help them sort of going forward. So, yeah, well done, team. I love the fact you do those end-of-build coachings and the timeline. Righto, Dave. Back to this, please. You're our ADF housing entitlements expert. Hayden, another long-time listener, first-time caller, or maybe first-time listener. I don't know. I love it if it's Hayden. If you're listening for the first time, you've already hit us with a question, mate. Good on you. Kieran, can you bring that up, please? Dave, I'll ask the question for you, buddy. G'day. Hope this is the right forum. You're in the right place for everything, mate. What is the benefit of double DHOAS? Serving spouses. One's been in for 8 years, Dave, and the other one for 2 years.
Yep. I've just shared my screen there, Kieran, as well. If you can pop that up. It's just the DHOAS page, just for a little bit of ease of looking at it while I'm talking. But Hayden, the way that a double DHOAS is the secret sauce. It can be the secret sauce for enabling you to get a higher subsidised loan amount on your loan. Now, in your example there, you've got one person, one serving member that's been in for 8 years. So they're entitled to Tier 3. As you can see there down the bottom, Tier 3 is 8 years. So you can get a loan subsidised up to the amount of $729,000. The other serving member there has been in for 2 years. With the recent changes to the qualifying period, they're now also entitled to Tier 1, which is $364,000. The way that the double DHOAS works is that you add both of those tiers together. So 729 plus 364 is, just very rough numbers, about $1.1 million. So if you're going to buy a property with your DHOAS and you're using double DHOAS, if the loan is close to that $1.1 million, then it's very, very valuable in getting you subsidy or a monthly subsidised amount on that full amount. If, for example, though, in your example there as well, if your loan is $729,000 or less, then there is no benefit there in using double DHOAS, because the way it works is you add both of the members' entitlements together, and let's just say you're going for a property and it's only a $500,000 loan. If you go and use double DHOAS, you've got $1.1 million worth of lending there. Of subsidy available to you. You can only use up to your loan amount. So once you get that, you then divide that in half, and then each person will only have subsidised loan amounts of about $250,000, and then that's paid at the relevant tier amount as well. So if you've only got a small loan, it's not worth using double DHOAS. Even if your loan's only $364,000, the person with Tier 1 could use that one, save the other one for a follow-on property. If you get posted, keep the DHOAS on that first property, go and move to a new location, buy another property, get DHOAS again. You can have it on multiple properties. it.
Hayden, what he said.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Good job, mate. You've been living and breathing this for many, many years now. I would say there is no one else, not even Chris Hemsworth, no one else that knows the ADF entitlements like you do, mate. It's so good to have that bloody awesome capability under your belt.
Not sure why Chris Hemsworth would know this.
I don't know. I just think like fucking who else would be who else reminds me of Dave, and then Thor dropped into my head, and I don't know, it's fucking Chris. Just in case you didn't know, Thor's a real person, and his name's Chris.
Okay, thank you for that.
Hey, Caitlin, back to you. Let's not sugarcoat things. The delays have settled down a lot.
Yeah.
Between this time last year, which is just after you started, like, hey, guess what? Come and join us. And you're like, fuck, notice of delay, EOTs, boom, boom, boom. So it has settled down a lot. Obviously, a lot of clients talk to myself, Luke, and Ryan, on the front end about, pros and cons of going through the build process. And definitely the trend has settled a lot. There are a couple of delays that happen every now and then, though. So that's part of it.
Yeah.
For those that have been following my story at home, Tamara and I are moving into our new home in about 3 weeks. Now that has been 2 and a bit years in the build. So thank you, Hayden. So I do know about delays. Dave knows the most about ADF housing entitlements. I think I know the most about fucking delays, noting the cost of everything. Caitlin, talk to me. What's be as generic as you like here. What's some of the more common delays now that people are seeing, noting that there's the frames are all good, the concrete's better, et cetera, et cetera. But what are some of the delays that now exist?
Some of the delays that now exist is when we do have maybe a number of properties in one area that are reaching the same stage at the same time.
Right.
So we may receive tiling delays because, there is only a certain number of tilers or trades in that area. So when there is that one trade that is, we need it for a number of properties, that is where we see a delay. So tilers, painters, those kind of trades where it is like that one trade for that one job, that is where we see a little bit of the delays. But again, nothing monumental there. I think the last tiling delay I received was 2 weeks, which when you think about a lot of our clients that have gone through builds, they've had up to 10 extensions on their property. And
100 days.
And that could be hundreds of days, and not just 2 weeks. So it is like slowing down a lot, which is great. And it is good, especially for our new clients that come through and they're like, delays, like, what's that about? Like, will my builder go under? And I'm like, no, mate, you're good. Let's not even talk about it. But no, definitely we talk about it, and we discuss what may arise. I say may because sometimes a few of our properties that are finished right now have not seen one EOT, so they're just
delays.
That. And
good.
I'm like, yes, you're before that time.
Love it. What about probably two of the most? So everyone knows the most important part of getting towards the end of the build is finding a tenant. We spoke about that at large. Mm-hmm. The two other really, really important parts of it, though, is putting the appropriate insurances in place.
Correct.
And also making sure that there is a third-party building inspector going to do their checks, quality assurance, being built to code, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
And I know that when the building so we've got 2 or 3 different building inspection firms.
Correct.
Obviously we need to be able to spread ourselves around the different parts of the country. And I know that you and Fran especially go through every single building report. What are the sorts of things you look for? And talked about minor defects, major defects, and if a builder does a really, really good job, how many defects would be seen to be that's a pretty good report, as opposed to perhaps if the builder called forward the inspection too early and it wasn't quite ready, what would a report that's got maybe too many defects look like?
Yeah, so with our good reports, and we do see them a lot, which is great, especially because, you know, a lot of our builders did have the lengthy reports and they are actively, you know, improving their processes to get better. So a good report at this stage is, you know, from 20 to 30 defects. And you think, holy crap, that's a lot. It's actually not. When you count paint as a defect for, you know, each room, you know, the paint defects are one trade that goes back to your property to do the final coat of paint. That's one trade finishing all those defects, which may be up to, you know, 10 to 15 defects for paint. We count that as one. That's out the window. So, you know, that's a really good report. It's, you know, from there, it's just minor things where it could be, you know, not the appropriate screw. The door margins are out of line. So it is minor things then that we are seeing. When it does come to a bad report where PC is called too early, we can see upwards of 50, to which that is where we then, you know, dissect the report a little bit further and we give genuine feedback to the builder on behalf of our clients, because that's not what you want to see when it comes to a property. I know that my inspections for my own home were called a little bit too early and I saw upwards of 60 defects, and yeah, it was something that I got to sit down, check off, look through, and, you know, I dissected it with my builder and I just said, listen, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But for all of our clients that have got those lengthy reports or not the lengthy reports, and you've got a good one, regardless, you have someone on your team that are following up these items. You have a property manager that is also following up these items. And, you know, it's nothing to be alarmed of. This is the reason why we have the inspector go through your property to find the defects. That's what we want. We want to find them. So, yeah.
Yeah, so good. I feel a little bit...
Sorry,
go for it, Dave, please, mate.
I just want to add in as well, and it just echoes what Caitlin said there in regards to when the builder does call for PC a little bit too early, the inspector goes in. When we're seeing those higher amount of defects, it's not things that they've done wrong or badly. It's just work that just hasn't been completed yet.
Correct.
That's still classed as a defect. So it's not that we're getting poor quality work. It's just that things got called a little early and the work just hasn't been completed yet.
That's it, Dave. And it could be something as small as the appliances are not installed in the property because PC was called too early and the builder doesn't want to put appliances in the property in case they were stolen. You know, it has not happened to us. But again, this is something that potentially, you know, is marked as a defect.
So it's a good strategy doing that as well.
Yeah. So minor defects are just that. They're minor, even if the volume of them is large or small. Caitlin, this is another question without warning. How many reports have you seen, you know, let's call it in the last 12 months? I don't even know if it's listed on your stats that have got major defects. Look at your response straight away. That's what I was thinking. It's
I'm trying to think, and
that's such a good answer. Like, oh yeah, about 25 reports. I'm like, what the fuck do I know about that already? Like, for me, ladies and gents, those in the military, like, you'd understand that as a CCIR for me, Commander's Critical Information Requirement. Like, and I don't know about it, so it was a bit of a loaded question.
Yeah,
like, you guys haven't come to me with any major defects. There better fucking not be any.
That's it.
I know, good mate, well done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, even Fran's laughing. That, ladies and gentlemen, should be the majority of things that you really hang your hat on when it comes to build quality. Minor cosmetic shit is going to be fixed up. No issues. But if there's any major defects in there, especially from a structural perspective, then that's something that does need to be addressed RFN. Right?
Sorry, I had to think for a second of what the acronym was.
Acronyms in the name of clarity and brevity. Like, I knew what it was. So that's all that matters. Hey, I need to circle back on. Actually, no. Before I do that, so that was building inspections. I was just making some notes when Dave was answering that other call before, that other query. What about? I know that you and Angie and Fran have done a fair bit of work over the last couple of weeks, looking at it, like just refining and upgrading and improving the offering that we're providing our clients from an insurance point of view.
Yeah, correct.
You know, even because here's the thing. I should have said it at the start of the call. Dave, when we have keys being handed over to our owners, that's a pretty amazing event. But when the keys get handed over to someone that wears an Axon cape, that's another amazing event. Yeah. So, Caitlin, please, everyone, give me a massive round of applause James and Caitlin finished their own home keys handover today. Amazing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know that it's been a journey.
Today is 2 years and 2 days since we bought our land.
Yes, it's been a journey, and there's been some delays, and there were some mistakes made, and there was some feedback provided by you to them.
Yep.
Because here's the thing.
Yep.
Between you and Fran, you're building 100 houses at any one time. So, again, no one knows the industry from a client perspective than you guys do. There's no one else in the industry that's had the volume of work and the experience that both of you have had, especially over the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Like no one, not even Chris. We shouldn't. Chris and that don't go together. I'm sure.
I know, right?
He'd be offended, right? Oh, fucking hell. Where am I going with this? But no, I guess, you've been able to provide that feedback to the builder and go, no, mate, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And I'm sure that, when you had 60, 70 bloody defects come through on your report, that you went out there and, did it properly for them. Tell me though, and give everyone a bit of an insight. What was it like to, and this is not your dream forever home, but it's a very, very fucking nice one. Like it'll be your family's home for the next 10 years or so, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's it like, mate? That you've now got the set of keys handed over, and now you've got to move all your stuff into it, and you start to settle in.
Yeah. So, well, first off, James and I call this property our dream for now.
Good on you.
Whilst we did pick the colours, I was, heavily pregnant with my third child, picking the colours, having domestics in the builder's office. It is my dream now. But yes, it is amazing. I have my key ring with my garage door remote. I've got my 3 keys because they're 3 keys for some reason for all my logs. But I've got my keys and it's really good. It was a little bit of a bittersweet moment, the moment like I went to the property and I was like, I've seen this house a million times. But the moment I got to do the most weirdest thing, which was slide my curtains down, I went, oh my God, this is my house. And yeah, we've got removals booked in, which is amazing. And, I'm not sure if a lot of our listeners know that I was originally.
See you later, Dave. You and I can just hang up, mate. It's
Caitlin's
I don't know if a lot of our listeners know that I was originally an Axon client with my husband, James, who was a property specialist. And so this house right now that we're about to move into is our first house that we're living in. We do own an investment property as well. But we credit it all to Axon because we wouldn't be here without Axon pulling our heads out of our asses pretty much a few years ago. So it's just really good to see not only mine and James's hard work, but the hard work of our coach, which is Robbie.
Thank you.
And all of our friends.
I've loved every minute of it, mate. I've loved seeing you guys grow and evolve, and your relatability now to be able to let people know that you've sat in their shoes and you know exactly how they're feeling. Yes, there was. I used to do a bit of tug of war when I was younger, and I'm glad I did that because that's how much effort it took to get your heads out of your bums. But you did it, and it's a credit to you. And have a look at you now. You guys are bloody flying along.
And that's what. Oh, sorry.
No, please. I was just about to say quickly. I know Charlotte and little Teddy that spent a couple of years in your last rental property were a bit sad leaving that now, but I can't wait for them to just make new memories in their own home now with Mum and Dad.
No, definitely. I'm so excited. And I think with obviously the year before BCF, which is before Caitlin and Fran, the end of build hot washers and the end of build calls were done a little bit differently, but now we have shaped them to be a little bit more personal. So when we do an end of build hot wash, we, bring up the client's plan, their goals, their PWAP, everything. And I like for a lot of my clients that they do say, we focused on family, or we're doing this to provide for our family. And those were the same goals for James and I, is that we didn't want to be where we were. We didn't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. We didn't want to have to go to our parents' house because we didn't have any money to, do food or something. But it's those moments where I really connect to a client and I'm like, you've done it. You've started your goal. This is amazing to see. And it's at that moment where they're like, oh my God, I have. So it's just reflecting on that and right now, it's never in a million years ever did I ever think that I would own a home. I just thought that that's not me. That's not where I came from. I'm not that person. I wasn't in that class as an Australian, but here I am now, and it's emotional.
Little known fact, you are also from a small-ish country town in South Australia, so you and I share that same quality, mate. It's bloody awesome. Hey, just quickly. Yes. Was it you or Fran that was on the call with the client that was going through their goals and then the wife was sitting next to him?
I've had a lot of calls where I've gone through some goals with our wife.
No, okay, but this happened just recently. So just listen to me for like all of my listeners, not your listeners, Caitlin. Right? Even Franny's like, my listeners, Facebook famous. What to Caitlin's point, what she was just talking about, it was you, Franny. It was. I'm sorry, I'm going to steal your thunder here, and I hope I give the story justice.
Sorry,
young Teddy that I was just talking about. Hello, beautiful boy. Ladies and gents, whilst you're looking at those beautiful blonde curls, just hear me out for the last couple of minutes. To Caitlin's point, when Franny sit down and did the end of build coaching session with this gentleman, he wrote on his goals something like, I want to buy this property and start a portfolio so as I can secure the financial future for my future wife and future family.
Bye-bye.
Fast forward, get out of here, James. Fast forward 18 months or so, probably even 2 years. I think it was an extended period, like due to land registration, build delays, etc. His now wife was sitting on that call, and when Fran was reading out the goals, saying, "I wanted to do this to help my future wife," the future wife that didn't exist was sitting there. So that's what I thought. I apologize. I didn't realize it wasn't you. Your reaction there says it all. Like, how fucking goosebump moment is that we are changing the services we provide and now helping people literally achieve their goals one by one.
That is next level. That's really crazy, especially for a goal. I mean, marriage is not for everyone, but it's really good that this client, did forecast that, and that they, regardless whether they were in that position or not to be married, that they were like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to look after that wife one day. Happy wife, happy life.
It just goes to show the level of thought that our clients put into why they're buying investment properties, and it's all about the why, not just the numbers.
Yeah. I love it. Final little point, Caitlin, my little thing there was that, so you've now just obviously put building insurance. You don't need landlord's insurance because you are the occupier. Right. I know that between yourself and Ange and Franny, we're doing a bunch of work to continually improve the type and level of services when it comes to insurances. So I guess we don't need to know more details there, but again, good work in the build support team to identify that we've always got that continuous improvement mindset. To optimize what type and level of cover that's being provided to people. So even if you're coming up to your insurance renewal, another reason why you should be coming back to us and go, right, what's out there in the market, what can I sort of get there? So we're optimizing things on our end to make sure that you're getting the best bang for buck, but most importantly, you're getting the most appropriate type of cover. Because one thing you don't want to occur, ladies and gents, you do all this work and all this effort and spend all this money, and something happens and you're not covered for it from an insurance perspective. Like, it's just fucking dumb. That's a technical term for not acceptable to have all this stuff uncovered. All right, Simo, final thoughts, mate. And first and foremost, can I say thank you so much to everyone being so contributive to the chat tonight, mate. What are you most looking forward to? This is a bit of insight for me. What are you looking forward to over the next 12 months? What's one of your predictions in the property market for the next 12 months? Question without warning.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the interest rates coming back down.
Yeah, we all.
Because what we saw and what I observed over the last 12 months while the interest rates were increasing is that it knocked a lot of single people out of the market. Because even if they've got 70, 80, or 75, $80,000 worth of income, which is fairly substantial, a lot of them just didn't have the borrowing capacity to buy a property on their own. All of our couples that are coming through, double incomes, some with kids, with no kids, they fared a lot better. Yep. So over the next 12 months or so, I'm looking forward to interest rates peaking, leveling, coming back down, and then having a little bit more accessibility for our single members so that they can actually get back onto that property investing train again as well.
Amazing, mate. Thank you so much. Just before we finish off, Bron, thank you so much. Very informative. I love your passion. Look, it's one of those things when you believe in who we are, what we do, the messages that we pass on, and the level of transparency. It's pretty easy, quite frankly. We've been doing this now for nearly 4 years. When I say these Q&As for the last 4 years, so it's been a bloody hell of a journey. I know, Caitlin, you were like shitting yourself doing the first one when I interviewed you and James's clients back in the day. Caitlin, I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to, if I can just finish off the session now as we tick over the 1 hour mark, the majority of clients that are coming through right now were only coached by me, Luke, and Ryan. So I think just the level of support and everything, and therefore the level of familiarity that we as an Axon team are going to have, with some clients coming through, we're just going to go to a neck level. Ladies and gents, thank you so much. Great job, Caitlin. Well done, Dave. Dave and Caitlin, stay there. We'll just do our own little hot wash. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gents. We'll see you guys again probably next fortnight, where it'll be me and 2 other amazing guests. See you later. Have a great night.
See you later.
Thanks, Lukey Hughes. You bloody